How you doing, guys? Today I am giving you where I stand with the 1056, and as you can see, we've got issues. I did start up the engine a couple days ago. I broke in the camshaft just as the Hackman cams suggestions were, so that all went good. Basically ran it at fast idle, or I should say about 2,500 RPM for 20 minutes. Monitored the heat, everything went fine. Engine actually ran cool as a cucumber, and there's no issues. I dumped the oil. There's a little bit of shininess in the oil, but that is to be expected with a brand new motor, a splash oil system, and no oil filter. So, but today being a beautiful day here, I decided to take it out for a little ride, put power to the transmission for the first time. And that went completely successful. Absolutely no issues with the transmission. It shifted in, shifted out, stayed in gear, smooth. I did need to do a little bit of belt adjustment to it, or to the puckers at least, to get the belt to stop spinning so it would slide into gear a little better. That all worked out fine. The fuel pressure in the gauge is weird. Issue number one. Starts off at about 4 psi, then it falls to about 1.5, 2, and then just stays there. So I don't know if there's a pump problem or obviously a fuel problem. I did reconfigure the fuel line to make sure that there's better constant fuel flow to the filter, which means that it would be flowing to the pump. I also made sure you won't be able to see it, but made sure my fuel level is at least halfway up the tank, so that way I have plenty of gravity feed to the filter. So I don't think that's an issue. Obviously the engine runs, it runs good. So this whole piping area here works fine. I don't have any issues with that. I don't have any vapor lock because I checked the temperature of the fuel line, and it's under 100 degrees. It's like 70, 75. So that's not the issue, or at least I don't believe it's an issue. So I'm going to have to monitor this. I might have to take that pump out, bring it back to Napa. I might even just do that. It's just that it's such a nightmare. Everything's sealed up and tight. But then again, I have another issue, and that issue is this. One, it doesn't like to idle, and it's not a mechanical problem. The engine runs great. Once you get it off idle and into the upper RPM ranges, the engine just sings. I mean, just goes. No ticks, no bangs, no nothing. But it just doesn't want to idle very well. I basically have the idle mixture screw, this guy right there, almost turned all the way in, just to keep it from idling. The other issue, when I was taking it out for a ride, that just cropped up. The RPM now just goes through the roof. Now it just goes, I mean, it's like unsafe goes. Like the RPM goes out of control. And I don't know exactly why it's now doing that. So I'm going to readjust the governor. That's why I got it all taken apart. And I set it for stock because I just wanted to break the motor in on that. I didn't really want to go up to 4,000 RPM right out of the gate. But right now, it's got to be going right to 4,000, if not maybe a touch higher. It's just ridiculous. So I got to get that under control. So I adjusted my rod here, the throttle rod, a little bit, both directions, to see if that would make a difference, and that didn't. And when I first started up the engine, I was not having any issues with the fast idle or high speed RPM. It just started when I drove it up and down my street. I drove it all the way down, which is probably about a quarter mile, turned around, came back. I was in third gear. I was fluctuating the idle back and forth, so that way I wasn't sitting at one idle. Like, you know, I kept it in third gear, but I slowed the idle down, tractor slowed down, then I would stab it and it would speed up. Obviously the engine comes right to life, jumps right off of idle, no problems, no farting, no popping. But then all of a sudden it just bang, it went, I stabbed it and it just went through the roof, and there was an incredible difference in RPM. So I was like, oh, all right, well, something got screwed up, so let's take a look. So I nursed it home, and I've been playing with it for about an hour or so now, and there's something going on, something more than just a little adjustment needed. So I'm going to readjust, and it looks as if the governor is working, because it does, you know, when you stab it, it goes high, and then it kind of like recovers. But it's just too high, so I'm gonna have to screw around with that. The other thing I noticed when I was taking it apart, which is classic, these replacement starters, the little plastic cups, they always rub, you know, when this slings the gear out, it always rubs the blower cover. My little mule does it, this one does it, so it launched the cap that was on top of the plastic. Now the actual metal is not touching the cover, so we're good there. It was just this plastic cover, because I found the top of it jammed. Actually, it was jammed in here. It must have gotten picked up by the flywheel and flung. So, but there's really no adjustment there. There's really nothing I could do, or I'm going to do for that. And then I noticed that when I took the tins apart, right here, I don't know if you're going to see it, there's a small little thing of oil. And when I rub my finger right here, I do pick up just the slightest hint of oil. It's like right here between these two bolts. Oops, let me get focused in for you. It's like right between these two bolts. So the head must have a little bit of a warp in it right between these two bolts. There's no other indication anywhere else on the head that that it's leaking anywhere. I do have a copper head gasket in there, and when you run those copper head gaskets, you know, obviously the head and the block have to be perfectly flat. I don't know if I'm going to pull the head off or not. I may pull the head off just to see what the bore looks like after. See, I must have I ran it 27 minutes, then I ran it 13 minutes, so that's what, 39 or so. And then I must have ran it for another 15, 20 minutes now. So it's probably got just about an hour's worth of run time on it. So I may do that just to take a look and see what happens. If that's the case, then I'll resurface the head again. And this time I'll install the head gasket with some high tack and then retorque it. I did retorque the head right after the initial startup, so after running it 27 minutes, let it cool down, change the oil. Later on that night when the engine was stone cold, I just ran around the bolts in the correct pattern with my torque wrench, and that all came back fine. Absolutely no issues, nothing was loose, nothing needed to be torqued, everything just clicked off real nice. So there you go, guys. I was kind of hoping to have a little bit more happier discussion about the tractor, but it's coming along. It's a full build. Can't expect everything to work perfectly right out of the gate, and you know, that's how these projects run. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you're interested in the project, please stay tuned. I'm getting there. I will have a full video of it running and driving, but as always, we got to have these little gremlins. Thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you like the video, I guess there's nothing really to like about it, but if you like the video, I would appreciate if you could just hit that thumbs up, and you guys have a great day.